going on? So this is a very different kind of video, but as per my channel, I like talking about this game more than I like playing this game. And so if you did click on this and you are going to watch the rest of this video, thank you, because I understand that this is very strange content, but I did have an actual specific reason for creating this. Shout out to William. So this is the Rush Royale official Discord. I always make fun of the Discord because although it is the greatest place to get information, obviously, because in the news section, they will always post all of the news, any kind of update for this game, they will post here. They will technically post it on their Facebook as well, but I feel like this is easier. The meme contest is always very funny. Sometimes they're kind of dumb, but, every so often you get some gems in here. But yeah, all of the news, anything that I will talk about, will come from here. But in saying all of that, I always make fun of the Rush Royale Discord because you should definitely subscribe to it because of all the people that just hate the game, that just hate everything about everything and will complain about everything. Like they could literally drop a patch or a new update that says we're giving talents to 5 new creatures, and somebody will inevitably say, what about Fire Mage? How come Fire Mage isn't getting talents? Like you're giving talents to all the legendary creatures. Like how come Fire Mage doesn't get talents? How come Stasis doesn't have talents yet? How come you're just focusing on all of your pay to win? I do it. I hear it in the same voice every single time. It's always this just annoyed person. And so every so often I just going through this. And just popping in, and I want to preface this entire video that, and the reason for my title, is this thing. This is the thing that started it all, and if it was just this, I wouldn't have posted this. It would have just been funny to me. But then, as I surmised in the beginning, and hinted at, shout out to William. We'll eventually get to that whenever we get to that, and I know why I am shouting him out, but I did not read any of it. So when we get to there, it'll be a surprise to us all, and I will react to that when we get to it. But this is how it all started. Somebody said, "Hi guys, I recently got Unit Dryad and I think it sucks. Is it good?" And I was like, what? Like, you just got Dryad? And you think it sucks? Like the ability to literally level anything up at will. Just a unit that levels things up in a game that is all about random merging and getting something random. You can literally just build one unit and level it up and let it sit on the field. But you would rather merge things? What about Dryad do you think is awful? It just does the one thing, yes. Is he trying to use it as a DPS card? I can't imagine a scenario where this person got this card, started using it, and was like, oh, is that all it does? It just levels up your card from 1 to 2? That's so terrible. I don't know how new you need to be to look at this card and think that it's bad. It was just burning a hole in my head that somebody could honestly use this card, get it, and think, and then use it, presumably, and think that it was bad. I couldn't. I had to say something. And so this is what I chose to say. It's awful. It just levels up any card to any level. When would you ever need that? And he was like, I was pretty upset when I got it. What about Demon Hunter? And I was like, I would be too. Nobody uses that card. Demon Hunter is awful too. You should use Stasis. That card needs to be nerfed. At which point, Blood Paint, because Blood Paint when he said that, like, I think it sucks, is it good? He said it is good, right? But then he, like, caught on to my joke of saying that it's awful. So at this point, he understood that this was all a joke. And he goes, stasis is OP. And I was like, the stasis DPS tech, it's so good. Freezing everything all the time and dealing damage, how do you beat that? Stasis is a card that on paper sounds really good. And it's awful. And it's obviously just awful. Because that's all it does. All it does is freeze things, and you can't win the game by freezing things. And the damage is so low. I guess, you know, you're watching my channel. I trust that you understand that stasis is not great. And so this kept going. Stasis, Portal Mage, Executioner, Clown, and Frost. And he was suggesting that is the deck to use. And he says, I don't have stasis, I think. To which you can just scroll back up, because that's his comment. Stick Grabar. He posted this, and he clearly does. He clearly has stasis. It's right there. He does it. He does have it. But he says, I don't have stasis, I think. And bottom left. And then I said, and then Bestie's ability to give double attack speed when you get her to 15. Dude, Bestie is crazy. Bestie is another thing that sounds great on paper, and it's terrible. But I was like, yeah, when you get to level 15, and you have the ability, because when you activate the ability, it gives random units attack speed. If you gave that attack speed, and it gave double attack speed to stasis, like, that would be crazy. And he goes, bro, stasis sucks. I hate it. Right? Just a second ago, he didn't even think that he had it. How does he hate it? And then Blood Paint was like, what? No, skill issue. And he said, bro, if I could trade one legendary card, it would be stasis. And I said, yeah, level 15 stasis, the freeze lasts for 4 seconds. That's insane. Doing damage and freezing the board all the time with no activation? Like, again, stasis on paper sounds amazing. Like, you can just freeze the field and it deals damage, and it freezes for 4 seconds. That sounds amazing. And he goes, bro, some people, Dance Blader sucks, stasis is OP. I'd gladly gove up stasis for BD. I'd gladly give up stasis for BD. I wouldn't wish BD on my worst enemy. And so, he said Dance Blader. Dance Blader sucks, so I just decided to go with that. And I said, Dancer Blader is so awful. I would rather use Thrower. He's so much better. And if he were to push me on that, to say that Thrower sucks and Blade Dancer is better, I would have been like, Blade Dancer only attacks the first person. Thrower attacks everybody on the field. Doesn't that just sound so much better? But he didn't, and so we move on. He said, I got no talents, fit stasis. I get no talents, fit stasis. And so this other person says, is it all true or all opinions? We'll get back to that. He says, me too. And Stick Grabar said, yo, where? And he says, doesn't need them. And Stick Grabar goes, here's my opinion. I said, stasis is broken without talents. With talents, my God. Here's my opinion for Stick Grabar. He says, Inquisitor is better than stasis. And at which point, the Fletchling, he says, is it all true or all opinion? And I responded to him, these are all confirmed facts. At which point, I said, Inquisitor only deals damage. Stasis freezes the field and does damage. This is basically where I dropped out, and I just kind of forgot about this. He said, bro, look at his damage. And so I basically dropped out of this. They had their own conversation, and just randomly, I love that they went on with this. So you need to use Stasis and Portal Keeper. I'm new. Here's my current loadout. Portal Keeper, Clown, Dryad, Genie, Demon Hunter. My whole map gets filled in Genies eventually. At which point, Blood Paint was like, don't use double DPS. It became a real conversation after I left. And then I don't necessarily know where this went. Oh, here we go. Bro, not considering level, like just a card if all cards were the same. What was I responding to? Oh, here. So I will use Clown, Dryad, Portal Keeper, Stasis, and Genie. At which point I was like, don't use Dryad. Nobody uses Dryad. It's awful. And that was the point where I dropped out. So I kind of forgot about this. And then I clicked back in, and this is the shout out to William. He decided to eventually, I based my thoughts from a YouTube video channel that showed this tier list. And I was like, that looks like my tier list. And most top tier legendaries are 4K trophies, but Dryad is almost used everywhere. And at which point somebody, let's see, wait. Why Demon Hunter? Wish me luck, I'm refreshing the shop video. Anyone want to help me on Chapter 3 co-op? Dryad is used in almost all decks except Meteor and Robot Clock. Dryad is in all my decks because I don't play Clock or Meteor. Looking for co-op partners, Clock. At some point, he shouted me out. Oh, here. The person that made the list doesn't have a max unit. Spirit Master and RRH are both S++. Riding Hood. Meteor should be OP based on the tier list. Nah. The person that made the list doesn't have a max unit. Spirit Master and Riding Hood are both S++. The person that made the list doesn't have a max unit. That isn't too far off, though. And then he shouted me out. Witch and Sword are both S++. Gonna say Dryad, too. Witch and Sword are both S++. Those are F class at best. Witch and Sword are both S++. And somebody said, those are F class at best. Oh, he's making a joke. I see what's happening. What do you need to make Riding Hood work? I tried her, but don't do much damage. Yeah, I guess that's basically it. I'm trusting that this doesn't go into me. So the way that I made the way that I made this tier list, he is correct in that I do not have Meteor, but I also didn't have Riding Hood at max tier either. These are all pictures from my account, but I was utilizing. So I wanted to use legendary pictures, and so all you have to do, if I can go back into this, I guess I have all the units now. But if you don't have a unit and you go into the you don't have button, you can get a picture where it has the max unit and it doesn't show your talent ranking. But if you do have the unit, here we go. Of course, I'm at 15% because every video I have to be at 15%. If you do have the unit, and you go into talents and then you switch it to the cool picture by clicking on the max talent. And then you just take a screenshot of that. You will see, the talent that you are currently at. If you take a picture of something that you do not have, you can have a picture that is a max picture that's a max picture that doesn't, that doesn't have the symbol that would indicate your actual talents. So that's the answer to that. I love the idea that they're basing this on just this picture. And obviously they haven't like watched this video and where I talk about S++, but they feel that a thing that is an S+ card should be an S++ card because it is at the top. And if you watched my video, when I made this tier list, the reason why those are S++ cards, and why I decided to make an even better tier, I'm going to make an S+++ tier next tier list to piss people off. But the reason why there's a tier that is even better than a regular S+ tier, it's to indicate that percentage damage is the best thing in this game because it can go for an infinite number of waves. I mean, I guess at that point, Witch could be considered S++, but people don't. I guess they do use that for. They one of the best reasons to use it is the insta kill on the 11 ability. You know, I'm now like reasoning through this in my head, and yeah, maybe Witch should be. But Dryad isn't. And my reasoning for the S++ tier is because that was a specific deck. Meteor and Minotaur and Corsair all do percentage damage. And percentage damage will always beat regular damage because percentage damage doesn't need to stack. It's always the percentage no matter what. That's why even though Meteor has a stacking option, people don't use that one. They use the other one. Because it's all about the percentage damage that it can deal. The Comet. You're not stacking damage with the other one. You're using the Comet for insta-killing monsters and doing a percentage damage on bosses. And so I like this person was like, this person doesn't even have like those at max tier. How does he know? Like that's a wacky reasoning. But yeah, shout out to William. And I guess William isn't even like in like the higher he said that he was considering restarting his account. Got the worst legendaries. I suppose those are pretty bad legendaries. I guess that's pretty tough to like start a game with that. I think Blade Dancer is good early. No, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I think everybody gets Boreas as their like one of their first demonologist. Like the thing about like the early part of that early part of the game, like when you're in arenas still, the thing about arena is that you have to get to specific thresholds in order to unlock more cards. And the reason why you get Frost as your first legendary is because once you finally are able to get a legendary, and you are able to open a legendary box, usually Frost is your only unlocked card. And I actually thought, like, the reason why they made it Frost and not, like, a good DPS card is because if you decided to never pass Arena 2, like, you never, like, went into this Arena 3 where you then have stasis available, and if you just stayed in Arena 2, do you realize that if you kept opening up legendary boxes, it would always be Frost? Like, it would always be this first one? Like, what if it was like Demon Hunter? What if they like made your first legendary like some good DPS card? Like even maybe a Boreas, or even maybe like if it was an Inquisitor. What if you could have like a max Inquisitor just right out the gate? Can you imagine that? Like if you just never advanced past Arena 2 and you just constantly played co-op, like somebody was, carrying you in co-op, I suppose. And you just like sat there maxing out your cards, buying things from the shop, but you never like advanced past Arena 2. And that's why like the next legendary that you unlock is also terrible in stasis. And then you finally get to like Arena 3 and you get Boreas, because now at this point you have the chance of getting one of 3 things, and Boreas is not even a good late game card either. And it isn't until like much later. Here you get Trapper, and then you get Demonologist, and then you get Hex and Bruiser, and then you have a chance for Demon Hunter and Dryad, which are the premier things that you would want to get. Like if you started a new account, I wouldn't even open a legendary chest until I got to here. Like until I had the chance to either get a Dryad or a Demon Hunter, I wouldn't even open a legendary chest at all. Because you can technically just wait, and wait until you unlock Arena 8, or beyond. But probably like Arena 8 is reasonable, to get the chance of either getting Dryad or Demon Hunter. And you could technically, if you were really lucky, you could technically have your first legendary be a Demon Hunter. That is a real possibility. Or you could get a Dryad. And then if you get Dryad, that like just changes the rest of your entire gaming ability, your entire thing. But yeah, I guess that's basically it. I was wondering if they were going to like rip apart my entire tier list. I thought that like my tier list was going to become some topic of conversation. Because like I said, I didn't actually read any of this. And so, because they didn't, and, cause it's very versatile, why Demon Hunter? Cause it's versatile. So better to open all legendaries at floor 9 and still be there until unlocking Dryad then? Yeah, probably. Dryad is used in almost every deck. Yeah, but that's basically it. Shout out to William. Thank you for shouting out my channel. Thank you for watching it. I hope I cleared up the confusion as to why other cards are not S++. Where did that like start? The person that made this list, Meteor should be OP based on the tier list, nah. The person that made the tier list doesn't have a max unit. Yeah, I do. Like, what? Nobody defended my Blade Dancer? Like, my Blade Dancer is clearly a legendary. And so is my Night Statue. Or at least it should be. Oh, no, it isn't. I didn't update my picture. That's sad. Yeah, my unupdated picture of Night Statue is still a circle. And my unupdated picture of Enchant Sword is also not. Maybe I should update that. Shout out to that guy. Spirit Master and Riding Hood are both S++. People assume that whatever the highest tier thing is the highest tier, and he would be wrong, because percentage damage is the best thing in this game. If you ever find, and it shocks me, when I made this tier list, it shocked me that more people aren't playing percentage damage decks. Because I remember when I saw a percentage damage deck like just going, and it was just, it couldn't be stopped. Like it was just dealing infinite damage for the whole game. And like it went up against a Riding Hood and a Demon Hunter. Like the guy, it was Daddy Denzel. And he was at the time the top person with the most trophies in the game. He dropped to like level 9 or 10 or like a person like 9 or 10 or something. But I have to assume that was only because he just stopped playing and other people just kept playing. And he was like, I'm already at the top. Like, I don't need to play his game. But like his percentage damage deck was so insane. And if I ever find another like co-op game, or I'm sorry, another PvP game where I can showcase like a percentage damage deck, I will post it. Because percentage damage in this game is just so far above anything else. And the fact that more people don't play that kind of deck is very strange to me. I don't know what kind of deck beats that deck, because it has the ability to just go on forever. But the idea that like this person thinks that because it's at the top that every good card in the meta should be at that top, and he doesn't realize how much percentage damage is so far above everything else. But yeah, that's just me. That's just me defending my own list. But anyway, again, shout out to William, and thank you guys for watching this random ranty video.